Hi, welcome to nickbackos.com. We are on lesson 18A, Mallet Instruments for Percussion Guide for the Beginning Band Student. The mallet instruments originated from Africa, but they took a European design. They look like a keyboard. So many times when my students come in and have a couple years or even a year of piano, it seems like it's a natural extension of the piano, and it's a lot easier from percussionists who've never played a keyboard instrument. There's one unique thing about a mallet instrument. You cannot use the sense of touch. Can't feel it. Every other instrument you play, you can get a sense of. If it's trumpet, you can physically play the instrument, feel it, look at the music, and you get this natural connection between music and instrument and sound. But the mallet instrument won't feel that way. It's a very difficult instrument to be able to read and also play the instrument. So many of these key points are going to be very important just to get your bearings. So if you feel the mallet instruments are difficult for you, then you're not alone. They're hard for every percussionist playing. This lesson is going to talk about mallet choice, the difference of mallets we use for each instrument. So we'd have to understand some very unique things about bells, xylophone, marimba, and vibraphone. And also chimes, which is completely unique to what we're going to be using in our mallet collection. The first thing we're going to learn is mallet choice, how to extend our mallets. And we have to study, and I'm going to demonstrate this in a little bit, of the differences of instruments. The basic concept. You can take a mallet of a softer bar instrument and use it on a harder bar instrument. So let's go through the orders of instruments from the hardest to the softest. The hardest of instrument is your bells, made out of metal. The next is the xylophone. It is a hard wood. The next softest is a marimba, made out of wood. Equal to the marimba of a metal bar is your vibraphone. So those two instruments will go together. Your most unique instrument is your chimes. And we're going to use a specific beater for that. Now what I'd like you to do is take a look at these four mallets. And with my right hand, the one to the farthest to my right is a brass mallet. Only can be used on bells. Next is a xylophone bell mallet. Could be used on both instruments. It's softer mallet. Then I have, in addition to our yarn mallet, I added a hard rubber mallet that could be used on marimba. So what we have is brass, the acrylic mallet, yarn, and hard rubber. The rule is I can take my soft mallets and move them to a harder instrument. Now what I'm going to do is give you an example of using these three different mallets, from a pure bell mallet, a brass mallet, to a xylophone bell mallet, and a marimba rubber mallet. Here's my brass mallet. Xylo bell. And marimba rubber mallet. Now that I have the xylophone, I have to take away my pure brass bell mallet because it would damage this instrument. Remember, this is a softer wood. This is my xylo bell mallet. And my marimba mallet. The only one you're going to avoid out of this collection is your yarn mallets when you go to a xylophone, because you won't get enough sound. Still play it, but it's not going to sound as good as a rubber mallet. My next instrument is going to be vibraphone. So now I can't use, definitely not my brass mallet, because now we're going to a softer metal compared to my bells. I can't use my xylo mallet because that would damage the instrument on marimba and vibraphone. So I'm going to use a soft rubber mallet. So I don't have that many choices. Remember, when we're playing a vibraphone, the most ideal mallet to use is a yarn mallet. You won't damage the instrument using a rubber marimba mallet, but sometimes you get a little too much contact. So we have our yarn or cord mallet. And the only instrument I'm not going to demonstrate is the marimba, where we can use either yarn mallets or rubber marimba mallets on the instrument, and both work fine, whatever you prefer. The last instrument I want to talk about is the chimes. And we don't use our mallet collection, and 9 times out of 10, your band director will have this hammer. It's a rubber hammer, and it's the perfect mallet to use for chimes. Strike the top. Always remember that you use the softest mallet on a harder instrument, but never a hard mallet on a soft instrument. Make sure you answer all the questions and review those key points. Look at this video again if you have any questions. Thank you for joining me at nickbackos.com. This is lesson 18A, Mallet Instruments from Percussion Guide for the Beginning Band Student.